last 15 years has seen sim racing change the landscape for motorsport hopefuls, but one thing that has been a fixture since long before then is the presence of Skip Barber Racing School. And that goes for the virtual world too, as we get ready to watch the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series. And it's a series opener. I am Joe Peak, and I'm joined by Roush Racing driver Joey Atterbury. Joey, this is a classic track we're starting on with Sebring, but it's also going to be tough.
Yeah, it is a very tough racetrack out there in Florida, but what a way to start this 6-event championship. Twin 15-minute races here at Sebring, and of course, we're going to carry those twin format races throughout the entire 6-event championship. And Joe, you said it's a classic format out here. Talk about the tracks that we're going to. Talk about some classic North American venues, too.
Absolutely. As we mentioned, Sebring to kick it off, Lime Rock, which is definitely going to be tight confines. 2 visits to VIR. That's going to be fun. With, of course, you can't go to North American tracks without Watkins Glen. It's a must. And then finishing things off at COTA down in Texas. The big show down there at one of the largest tracks that we've got here in North America, and a brand new venue as well in terms of all the others that we see. But let's talk about, of course, the one that we started all with, Joey, here at Sebring.
Yeah, Sebring International Raceway, 17 turns in length, 3.7 miles, and the tagline, respect the bumps. An incredibly classic track out here. First opened in 1950, and of course, the Skip Barber Championship has visited here twice before. 2022 race winners Deegan Fairclaw as well as Mikkel Gotti. Those were the 2 that were able to stand on top of the podium, but a couple quick pointers here. Turn number 1, always fast and sweeping, that left-hander, and then it gets very busy through the 3, 4, 5 complex. And then also the hairpin, turn number 7, probably the best passing opportunity here at Sebring. And then one final note, turn number 17, Sunset Bend. That's where you must respect the bumps, especially in these low-slung formula cars.
Without a doubt, it is going to be so important to be able to manage those bumps. But of course, let's not forget that there's a lot in store for our drivers, especially the successful ones, 1st through 3rd place. So it's not just the all-out winner of the championship. They get a 3-day Skip Barber Racing School. And then, of course, a race coaching program comes with that. And then entry into the Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Shootout. 4th and 5th still get a 1-day Skip Barber Racing School. And then reason to do good in each and every race. Per race, there is a 1-day session at Skip Barber Racing School up for grabs. That's a lot of days that you can rack up if you do enough of those. So that should be fun to watch to see who is able to grab those and get themselves a chance to get out on track. But Joey, it took a lot just to get into this race here.
It's pretty impressive what these drivers have gone through just to make it onto the virtual racetrack here. They had to do their hot lap qualifying, and that is a time attack style format through iRacing every single week. You got to go on to skipbarber.com. You can register over there every single week. So we did the registration, the time attack format for the Sebring qualifying races, and those are the top 20 drivers that we have actually participating here today. I see qualifying's going on right now, so probably just another couple more minutes we'll actually get over to that action on the racetrack.
Yeah, of course, the hot laps that they did are not going to be setting the grid. They're setting the grid today. That was just to get into this race as we get ready to take a look at what this race will involve. As we mentioned, qualifying today as well. 1 lap to try and set a good time. The race itself is going to be 15 minutes, and there's going to be 2 of them. Now, the big important thing here is that race 1 results will determine the grid for race 2. With how difficult it is to try to get up to this competition, I have to imagine that having good results in race 1 will have a big effect. This is a fixed setup series, and of course the leader controls the race start, so they get to decide when they take off or once that safety car pulls into pit lane and gives them control of the field. Definitely some chances to try and get a good jump here at Sebring coming around that long Sunset Bend. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out, Joey. You were telling me in previous years the drivers can be quite aggressive.
They can be quite aggressive. It is only a 15-minute race, so you got to get out there and perform at your best. And not only is that pressure-packed 15-minute race, Joe, but qualifying, only 5 minutes and only one lap available. So you better get it done.
Really have to perform. And glad that we get to perform on a day like today because, real quick, happy birthday to my co-commentator here in the booth, Joey Atterbury. What are you, 24, 25 today?
I'm just barely legal to drink now.
All right, here's our grid for today. Aaron Vasquez, our pole sitter on this one. No surprise there. Victor Wolfson is going to be starting in P2. Then row 2 has Leo Ovcharov starting in second, with Guglielmo Caligari starting next to him. Aiden Young will begin on the inside of row 3. Leo Brown will be to his outside. From there, Felipe Cabrera starts on the inside of row 4. After that, it's Khalib Hides with Matt Caruna. The Brit is going to be starting on the inside of row 5. Outside will be Ross Banfield. Matt Adams, hailing from Canada, will be starting on the inside of row 6. And then 12th will go to Mark Swan, hailing from the Netherlands. Then you've got Declan Webb on the 13th spot. You've got Noah Baldiston is going to be in the 14th position. Then row 8 sees Bruce Wire there starting on the inside. Cameron Martineau to his outside. After that, it'll be Cade Middleton starting in P17. 18 goes to the eNASCAR driver, Matt Busa. Quick on the road courses as well. Last driver going to be competing today is Clay Morris, as we don't quite have 20 competitors showing up. Looks like it'll be a 19-car field.
19 cars is plenty busy here at the Sebring International Circuit. And as you see, we are going to be doing a rolling start, but we are on that Ullman straightaway just before turn number 17. So a nice shortened pace lap over here, Joe. I'm sure all of the drivers right now, they're probably tightening those virtual belts, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, trying to take some deep breaths because it's about to all crack off here.
This has got to be intimidating for everybody lining up behind that number 3 of Vasquez. He has, at least on sports cars, the first person, I think, in any discipline to reach 13,000 I rating. But in these open wheelers, he is a lowly 11,000, Joe.
Yeah, just merely 11,200 I rating is our pole sitter, the number 3 of Aaron Vasquez. He was a main championship contender in some of the F4 championships this previous year. Always got to keep an eye out for him.
All right, pace car is heading on in. Vasquez will have control of the field. How quickly does he try to get it going, or will he wait a little bit until we get to the green flag to try and hold back some of the slipstream? Green flag is out. He waits quite long, and that actually cost him a bit on the start. Wolfson is already to his outside as they come up towards turn 1. We see a little bit of 3 wide in the background, 2 cars hanging back. Not sure what happened back there, but it looks like Vasquez will be able to stay in the lead, although Wolfson is right on top of him. Doesn't try to make a move quite yet. He pokes his nose now, or no, that's actually a defense, Joey, as he holds off Young.
This is where it gets really busy on the racetrack. It's Vasquez, Wolfson, Young, Ovcharov, Brown. That is your top 5 as we exit out of turn number 5. Lead it out onto this bending straightaway. You see Aiden Young all over the back of Victor. He's going to pop out to driver's left as Victor takes the defensive line here into the hairpin for the first time around.
Side by side, but it looks like Wolfson is going to be able to get away with that one. Hold on to P2, but the more they battle, the more that allows a little bit of a gap for Vasquez. Joey, do you think it's possible to try to break away here and get out of the slipstream?
I do think it is possible, especially if you have 2 drivers that are fighting amongst each other behind you. If they are going too wide, it can provide that little bit of track position, and all you need is about 1 second here in these 160 horsepower FIA F4 cars to break that slipstream, and then you're off and running. But right now, Aaron Vasquez has got a mirror full of an entire Skip Barber Championship field.
Probably desperately wants to try and get a little bit farther away. Right now, it is still only about 0.3 of a second, so that's definitely not going to be enough. Look at them slide through Jean Debillon and out around them all onto the Ullman straight. It's a very good exit by Vasquez, although he kicks up just a little bit of dirt going wide. Wolfson again has Young hot on his heels. Some cars popping out to the inside, including Young, who is now going to try and give a go coming up to Sunset Bend. Are they going to stay wheel? Yes, he is. He's going to hang tough. He's got that inside line, but now he's got to get the shot off the corner. He doesn't need it. He is fully ahead.
That was a nice pass from Aiden Young, used the slipstream, and then ultimately took the shortest distance around turn number 17, and now Victor opts to go up there and give a bump draft. Aiden Young's going to look for the lead. He was in third place down the back straightaway. Now he's got some clean air. Aaron Vasquez doing an over-under as we ride with Leo Brown.
Nice awareness there from Vasquez. That'll get him back up to the top spot. Brown side by side himself. I think that was with Ovtrov to his inside, barely given enough room coming up and around turn 5. Now it's into Big Bend, and it is a drag race. They've got at least one helper behind, I think that's Brown, as Karuna is basically pushing him along.
Yeah, I think that's Matt Caruana really giving that bump draft to Leo Brown, and he's able to get in front, and now it's actually going to be Caruana with the drive off. So he picked up one spot in that hairpin. Now he's got the acceleration phase. He's going to go next to Leo Brown in that number 8 car. So watch Matt. He's on the inside. Driver's right. Can he outbrake? No, he's just going to tuck back in line.
And you can see ahead of them, it's been a battle for the lead. Young's still working on trying to take it away from Vasquez, while Wolfson is now playing third fiddle to both of these pair instead. But he's going to have the inside down through Tower Corner, and unfortunately for Vasquez, he goes completely off course for a brief moment.
He does, and he's still side by side with Victor Wolfson. I think that Victor actually just kind of lent him a little bit of a favor and lifting off of the gas. So now our top 4, call it actually more like top 7, top 8 are single file, drive through this tricky turn number 16. It looks so simple on the track map, but it is always so slippery.
You know what amuses me, Joey, that in the real Skip Barber Racing series that you and I got to work with, they stress to the drivers not to make any contact. That was a big thing, as down the inside Vasquez is able to get through. There's no worries about equipment here in the virtual world. These drivers are allowed to be as aggressive as they want. Whew, that was close.
It was pretty cool to be able to get to call their races over there at NOLA Motorsports Park earlier this year. I think Ivan Machado was on the podium for both of those races, as it is still side by side. In fact, Aiden Young is going to pull the Darlington line, the high line around turn number 1. He has got the lead going into turn number 3. A deep move on the brakes from P4. Almost a little bit of contact between Caruana and Wolfson there.
They're going to get back to single file. Seems to be falling apart a little bit for Victor, because he was trying to go for the lead. Now he's just trying to stay on the podium here in race 1, while Vasquez and Young are trying to decide that top spot. Defensive move from Aiden down into the hairpin, but as they break, they'll go back to single file once again. That was very deep from Victor. He overshoots the corner. That makes him vulnerable once again.
Yeah, it definitely went sliding through that apex as Aiden Young is hanging on to the lead over Aaron Vasquez right now. I remember Aiden from those couple of F4 championships last year, always showing a tremendous amount of speed, always had a spotter looking over his shoulder, helping him out inside the room as well, and pretty cool to see him pick up exactly where he left off.
Right now, we're starting to see a little bit of separation, about 0.6 of a second from P2 to P3. And we kept talking about it. If you could break that draft, that can make such a huge difference down the line. So if those two up at the top start working together, this could be bad news as we ride on board with Caligari, just sitting here in what looks to be about 6th place, trailing all this group of front cars. Everybody trying to get onto the throttle as soon as possible onto the Ullman Straight.
And this driver, Caligari, as well as the one directly behind him, Leo Ovtrov, those are the two caboose, call it, on the back end of this top 8 breakaway. They've actually lost a couple spots as some aggressive maneuvers down into that brake zone. I believe that was Matt Caruana again in that blue end plate car. He was trying to make the pass on Victor, who's currently sitting in that 3rd place position, but Sunset Bend so long in terms of the radius, he can really carry that momentum and carry that apex speed. Same thing applies here at turn number 1.
And unfortunately, as you can see on the left-hand side, we've lost a few drivers to pit lane with some early incidents. It looks like Hides, Adams, Baldiston, Martineau, and Loyola have all ran into trouble. Mark Swan's actually gotten back out on track. I think it was one of the ones that we saw with issues right at the very start of the race. But he's still about a minute behind this group, so he's got a long way to play catch-up. And there's no full-course yellows to pack these cars up.
No, you're going to have to get it all done on the racetrack. And you see, once again, just a defensive maneuver out of our 2 leaders. That is Aiden Young out front. He has got the blue roll hoop, the blue helmet, the blue end plates. Aaron Vasquez with the green highlights and Victor Wolfson with the yellow highlights. Those are our top 3. Literally nose to gearboxes. We're side by side in turn number 10 again.
Vasquez not shy about trying moves to get that position back. I was reading some input from drivers who had raced with him. They said that he really is just all out and aggressive on these. While they've got this battle up front, a little bit separated behind them, you can see there's a battle for P9 led by Middleton, chased by Busa, Morris, Webb, and Ware.
You asked if there could be a breakaway, Joe. I think that they are proving it right here. We got a huge top 7 train for the lead, and then call it a 5-second gap between that next pack of race cars. And once again, with these FIA Formula F4 cars, they are momentum-based cars. Remember, 4-cylinder, 160 horsepower, 1,250 pounds. And look at the action they make down the straightaway. Once again, side by side through Sunset Bend.
It is 2-1-2 coming through this final corner out onto the main straight. You could see in the shot that Ovtcharov went way out into the grass onto the Ullman straight. So he's pushing just to keep up with these folks. Meanwhile, we're going to go 2 by 2 now, maybe 3 wide for the lead. Down to the inside, Caruana is going to try to take it away, but he's slow off the corner. Look at Vasquez, a savvy move to get up to the front, almost makes contact as he tries to brake down for turn 3.
The racecraft from Aaron Vasquez out front is something else, and now a little bit of contact between 3rd and 4th spot. I think that's Aiden Young now kind of getting roughed up. He is on the outside and on the back foot. As you see, Caligari, Ovtcharov, they are all trying to pounce.
Yeah, but now they're starting to all lose touch themselves with this top trio. Oh, but that is deep from Brown. He's going to fall back into them. Now it might be 2 as we go side by side for the lead once again. Vasquez versus Caruana. Although we've had a rotating cast of characters for the lead, Vasquez has been the consistent factor in it every time.
Well, and Joe, you called it that turn 1 maneuver, that over-under. He was on the outside of 3 wide. They were almost 4 wide going into turn 1 this lap, and so he was able to kind of sense what was going on, everybody going on with their hair on fire into the corner. He simply lifted off the gas, did that over-under, came out with the clean air. But I want to highlight that number 2 car who is in our lead right now, currently our biggest mover, plus 8 positions for Matt Caruana. Remember, not only is the win important for that championship, but hardest charger gets you something in the bank too.
Interestingly, he's tied on that with Middleton and Busa, who each have 8 positions gained from the start of the race as well. So he can't go any higher to try and up it. He has to hope that they run into some problems. But we'll see what happens as we now get a little run from Caligari down the Ullman straight, looking on Ovtcharov coming into Sunset Bend. Ovtcharov does not try to shut the door. He's going to leave it open. Will he get an over-under on his rival? Tries to cut back underneath him off screen, and he does get that, but look in front. So many of the other drivers also using that same maneuver as they fly towards turn 1. Vasquez back up to the front. Caruana has to settle for 2nd, and Brown tries to stick his nose in but backs out.
Yeah, it was that 3rd place car of Leo Brown that definitely had to back out of it, but it is a top 2 duel between these 2 drivers. Aaron Vasquez versus Matt Caruana. Remember, Aaron was on pole position. He has been that consistent driver. I got 1 driver off there at turn number 5. I think that was the blue highlight car of Aiden Young. Remember, he was up there leading some of this race, but unfortunately has kind of gotten pushed around in these last couple of laps. Now he's kind of got to regroup and try to see if he can make his way back towards the front.
We want to get back into it because we're already down to less than 4 minutes to go on the clock. This race nearly over with 2+ minutes per lap. And I tell you, Vasquez looks a lot like the emoji that he's got set up next to his rig there, just cool as a cucumber, and what has been frantic racing up front.
It has been pretty frantic, but let me tell you, you don't get 10,000 plus iRating by being calm, cool, and collected and racing with nobody else out there. You are going to be in the thick of things all the time as we ride on board with Aiden Young here in the number 7. So he is the last car in this 7 car breakaway. Look at the time remaining. We've only got 3 minutes left. Aiden has definitely got to get up on it. He's going to be looking for turn number 16. This right-hander right here, he's got to capitalize on the exit right there. Nice on the apex, keeps all 4 wheels on the pavement. Now it's just sitting in the slipstream.
Pretty much all of them are. You can see it's pretty well a straight line, although I think up at the front, yeah, there we go. Side by side once again. Caruana gets himself a good chance to get ahead of Vasquez. He doesn't sit on it. He's going to go through, while next to Vasquez, Leo Brown says, now's my chance to maybe get into things. We are only 2 laps to go as they cross the line. Top 4 starting to pull away from P5.
So something interesting is it's going to get really busy here in turn number 1, just like it has every single lap. Our top 2 are single file side by side for what is 3rd place. But what I was going to point out is Aaron Vasquez was on the outside of turn number 17 this prior lap. He tried to get the car back down to apex. He tried to get the nose to cut in, but with this fixed setup, he was just too far outside. That's what really left the door open for Victor, that 3rd place car. So maybe something that Aaron's going to have to tidy up. Don't get too wide there in 17.
Absolutely. I wonder if it might come down to an over-under as somebody shoots up the inside back there. I think that was Aiden Young once again, nearly shoves Caligari off the track as they go wheel to wheel. This is through Fangio now up into Cunningham. But I was going to say, Joey, I mean, could this be something where you're sneaky and pull an over-under to try to take the win in the final corner here?
Yes, 100%. These are momentum-based cars. So if you are side-by-side going into the brake zone of 17 and your competitor overshoots that brake zone, overshoots that minimum rolling speed, well, guess what? They are going to wash wide on exit. You can take advantage of that over-under. However, these cars do not have the horsepower to pull yourself out of a bad situation, so you have to nail that racecraft move and make the pass.
Who's got the skills and the wherewithal to make something like that happen, especially amongst these 4 titans that we've got racing for the first win of the season, to put your marker down and say, I'm one to watch out for. Caruana currently leads. Vasquez once back in that front spot where he started, and he's going to look for it now as they come up to Sunset Bend. He'll get to the inside. Wolfson's behind both of them, trying to figure out where he wants to throw his hat in. And as they exit out of the corner, little wiggle from Vasquez on the inside as the car struggles to retain grip.
Let's see who gets to the line first. We're going to go 3 wide with 1 lap to go here at Sebring International Raceway for the opening round here with the Skip Barber Racing School iRacing Championship. And it's Matt Caruana leading with the blue highlights. Aaron Vasquez has got the green highlights. Victor Wolfson with the yellow highlights. It is all up for grabs. 1 lap remaining.
There was a tenth of a second, actually, I should say, between our top 3 as they crossed the line. But there was 9,000ths of a second between our first 2 as they went across. Caruana holds the top spot. Vasquez now on the back foot as Brown's going to try and demote him to 3rd. That's about as lowest as you've seen Vasquez all race. He goes almost off course coming through the hairpin, and they continue to lose touch with Matt up in the lead.
This is exactly what Matt Caruana wants to see, is everybody scrapping amongst themselves in the mirror. Vasquez has got a slight edge going ahead to turn number 10, but it's going to be forced by Leo Brown. Vasquez escapes into 2nd place.
Wow, this is now just about that 1 second up to our leader. Vasquez is going to have to boogie over the next few corners to catch up to him. And that's hoping that he doesn't get attacked by Brown, Wolfson, or Young, who are still right back there. In fact, I'd say you could count pretty much anybody in this top 7 group in contention for the win, depending on what unfolds in these last few corners. They hit Jean Debienne, but what happens out of Le Mans, the critical corner onto the back straight?
It is all in the hands of that number 2 car out front, Matt Caruana, does not make a mistake going out onto the Ullman straight, so he pretty much has this thing in check, in the bag. But what happens for 2nd place? You see Vasquez already moving defensive, Leo Brown on the attack.
They come into Sunset Bend. Someone shooting up the inside. Ada Young once again going aggressive. It's going to be a big decision for 2nd, but it is not a question mark for 1st. Matt Caruana is going to come away taking the win. Behind them, Vasquez will narrowly beat a whole pack of cars for P2.
Holy smokes, talk about action-packed for 15 minutes straight to start this championship. Matt Caruana plus 8 positions to stand on top of the podium. That is one way to kick this thing off.
You know, a little behind-the-scenes look. I usually try not to get too excitable in the race unless things get crazy. But I don't know how you come down at any point in that race because it was non-stop action. And the results really show you how shuffled things got in the end. Caruana coming up 8 positions for the win. Vasquez finishing P2 with Wolfson rounding out your podium. Aiden Young will be P4 in the end. Leo Brown winding up in 5th. Guglielmo Caligari will be P6. Leo Ovcharov, the last in that lead group, will finish in 7th. There was a breakdown to 8th with Cade Middleton. And then Ross Banfield finished 9th right behind him. And Declan Webb getting himself a handy top 10. From there, Matt Busa, just outside of that top 10, will wind up in the 11th spot. You've got Clay Morris finishing 12th with Bruce Wire in 13th and Mark Swan in P14. Felipe Cabrera will be P15. Caleb Hides, Matt Adams, Noah Osbaldiston, and Cameron Martineau, unfortunately, did not get to see the finish of the race with a lot of problems out there. My goodness, Joey, this is going to be a high bar for the remaining races.
Definitely going to be an extremely high bar. I mean, we were 3 wide, 4 wide a couple times going into turn number 1 out there. So I'm sure we're going to get a chance to talk with some of these podium finishers here in a couple moments, get some of their thoughts about exactly what just unfolded on the virtual racetrack.
Yeah, exactly. How do you parse what just happened? You always talk about drivers decompressing afterwards and going over and analyzing what went down. How in the world do you analyze a race like that?
Yeah, it is going to be a busy time trying to process all of that. And I actually think that we're going to be getting our race 1 winner here joining us in the commentary booth. It's going to be Matt Caruana joining us, not only picking up the win here in the first race at Sebring, but plus 8 positions gained from where you started. How does it feel right now, Matt? Hey, Matt, we got you on microphone.
Yeah, Matt, we're good.
Yep. Okay. So I was just going to ask you, plus 8 positions from where you started to where you finished. Standing on top has got to feel pretty good here on race number 1.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good way to set the tone for the rest of the season. I didn't have an ideal quality, to be honest. That wasn't great. But I knew as long as I stayed out of incidents, didn't make any stupid moves, that I'd be able to make my way up to the front. So yeah, hopefully I can carry this on for the remaining race.
And then real quick, on that last lap, I'm sure you saw everything in the mirror there. Is that exactly what you were hoping for, to go down in that rearview mirror?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to get a little bit desperate on the last lap. So I sort of thought, if I'm leading at the end, then someone's going to make a move for P2 and I'll get my chance to run away. And that's fortunately what happened. So.
Well, nice job out there, especially to kick off this championship, and we'll be watching you out there in race number 2.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Of course, that was Matt Caruana, not only picking up one of our biggest chargers, plus 8 on the first race, but also standing on top, claiming that checkered flag.
And that's going to bring us to a short break. We'll be back with race 2 in just a moment.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series here at Sebring International Raceway. We've had race 1 down, and it's time for race 2. It was craziness out on track the entire 15 minutes for the first race, so we're expecting more of the same. But now we might have drivers that are slightly out of position due to incidents early on, so it could be fascinating. I'm Joe Peak once again with Joey Atterbury. And Joey, those starting from the back, they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, definitely going to have their work cut out for them, because as you see, we have 2 races for each of these events. They are 15 minutes in length. And of course, race number 2, well, guess what? That grid is determined from those race 1 results. And we're using those fixed setups on the FIA F4 cars. What that means, it's a spec race. Everybody has the exact same equipment underneath them. You can't go and open up that garage page. It is exactly like what you see, everybody in the same stuff.
All right, let's see how they start. If you watched last race, it's going to feel familiar because this is exactly as they finished. Caruana gets the pole with his win. Vasquez going to be starting 1 position down in second this time. Third goes to Wolfson, with Aiden Young starting in 4th. Then it's Leo Brown, P5, followed by Guglielmo Caligari in the 6th spot. Takes us to the 4th row, which sees Leo Ovcharov starting on the inside with Cade Middleton to his outside. Cade also made quite a hard charge. Ross Banfield starts on the inside of row 5, with 7th going to Declan Webb. Then you get to Matt Busa there starting in the inside of row 6, and Clay Morris starting in 12th. After that, it is Bruce Wire starting on the inside of row 7. Mark Swan starting on the outside. Felipe Cabrera will be then on the inside of row 8. 16th goes to Caleb Hides, with row 9 seeing Matt Adams flanking Noah Obaldiston. And then we get to the last driver starting on this one in 19th, and that is going to be Cameron Martineau, who unfortunately had an issue at the start, which we're not sure what exactly happened. But make sure, if you are enjoying this, that you give a look at iRacing itself, because for more information on this series, you can actually partake by logging on to skipbarber.com/iRacing-series today. And you can see the standings and schedule. Find out if you've got the stuff to make it into this fantastic little series that gives drivers the chance to go racing for real. And that's always the hope, Joey, to go from sim to reality. That's what everybody strives for.
That is the goal, is that we're all here sim racing to try to prove ourselves and try to get into the real world championships. And that's exactly what Skip Barber Racing School and iRacing are putting on the table for all of these competitors every single week. And you see the points breakdown here per race. So obviously, Matt Caruana with that win has 35 points. Aaron Vasquez, 32 points. But that is our entire top 20 points table, paying all the way out to 11 points for our final finisher.
6 events with 2 races per. That's 70 races each event that you've got on the table. 70 points that you could maybe grab and get yourself an advantage. Drivers are ready to go, and the green flag is out. This time, Caruana is about dead even with Vasquez as they accelerate towards turn 1. It seems like the leader cannot seem to get as good of a jump as they would hope. 4 wide, maybe 5 wide for some of our drivers coming down to the first corner. Surely somebody's going to have to give way on this one as the leaders are still battling side by side. Caruana versus Vasquez down into turn 3. Caruana around the outside will eventually claim the lead, and incredibly, with 5 wide, there were no wrecks in turn 1.
I don't know how they filtered it through down towards that turn 3, 4, 5 complex, but they all managed to get it done. And so right now, our early leader Aiden Young out front, followed by Matt Caruana. Then things get really busy for what is third place between Vasquez and Caligari. You see them side by side through the hairpin here for the first time. I believe a couple more cars falling down through the order. The number 16 and number 12, unfortunately, having issues.
Swan and Wire looks like they got involved in a tangle down at the hairpin. They're going to lose quite a bit of time. So the win might be out of it, but they could still pick up some attrition, as we didn't quite see it on screen, but somebody got pushed way far into Cunningham with a little bit of nose-to-tail contact. But the leaders seem to be doing okay up at the front. Young, Caruana, Vasquez, your top three currently.
It's almost a little bit of deja vu. Remember, Aiden Young was out front early in race number 1. Then he got shuffled back in the middle part of it and then came charging up through in that final break zone to take a great finish up here. Now he's got himself a nice visor of clean racetrack directly in front of him. Matt Caruana still sitting there in second.
And we've already got some real movers as Cabrera is up 6 along with a few other drivers. This is what cost at least 3 drivers coming through the hairpin. Somebody getting a real hop as they tangled wheels.
Yeah, just wheel-to-wheel contact down there at the hairpin. I think it was 3 wide, and that can definitely spell disasters. We've got a lead change out front. Our race 1 winner back to the point, Matt Caruana, but Aiden Young not giving up, and here comes Aaron Vasquez with the green highlights. He's all the way driver's right. Who's going to come out of turn 1 in front? Looks like it's going to be Aiden Young.
Manages to use that shorter line, and he immediately goes defensive. He does not leave the inside open to the likes of Caruana still battling him. Vasquez, though, almost had a shot around the outside while those two blue accented cars, tangle with one another out here. Meanwhile, side by side down between Wolfson and Caligari, that's battling for 4th place. Someone's going to have to come out ahead as they hit the hairpin and both try to break as deep as they dare into this sharp right-hander. It looks like Wolfson will get that 4th place.
I just want to give credit to all the competitors. Now I'm going to knock on wood as I say this because we have not had any huge significant incidents. And remember, guys, these are formula cars that we're watching out here. It is so easy to go knocking wheels into each other, go bouncing up into the air, really cause problems for everybody else out there on the racetrack. And in fact, as I say that, I think that Caligari had an issue down there in that turn 10, 11, 12 complex. I see him falling down through the order all the way back to 11th now.
It's going to be real rough if he wants to get back up there. The good news is they have not separated like we saw early on, where the front pack and back pack kind of wound up away from one another, although it does look like Ovtcharov is starting to lose a little touch. We're going to ride on board with Wolfson, who is at the back of this 4-car breakaway coming onto the back straight. Who is going to try something coming into Sunset Bend? We've seen it countless times tonight.
This is actually pretty crucial here from our front 4. Aiden Young going to go defensive. Caruana just going to kind of hang out on the racing line. And Victor now is going to use the slipstream. He's going to try to get not 1 but 2 positions up into 2nd place. He's carving the inside of Sunset Bend, and now you got to put the power down. But this looks just like last lap. Vasquez, though, is going to opt to push his buddy Matt Caruana in front, though.
Victor tried to set his vector to the inside, but unfortunately it did not pay off as he lost some momentum coming off that tighter line. Meanwhile, things still going hot between Young and Caruana down into turn 3 as neither driver is willing to give way. They bang wheels together quite literally, nose to nose. Nobody wants to give up as they come through turn 5. Still, they hang tough as they head through turn 6.
I have to chuckle to myself because these drivers are so top-notch. If I tried to hop in the sim and tried to race this close, it would end up in disaster. But every single one of these drivers has a right to be here. Remember, they qualified through those time attack qualifiers. They're the fastest in these FIA F4 cars, and they're also putting on a respectable show for us.
Yeah, I absolutely have to tip my hat to the show that we have been seeing tonight. Still carrying on wheel to wheel between Caruana and Wolfson, but it looks like Matt is going to be able to come away with that P2 finally. But yeah, I mean, despite it being such harsh racing out there, Joey, I mean, we have the vast majority of them still out there running in this race.
I love to see it, right? This is all what racing is supposed to be. It's not going elbows out and forcing people off of the racetrack. It's about improving your racecraft, improving yourself as a driver. What happens if I outbrake myself going over here? Am I going to get an over-under? What happens if I go too wide through turn number 16? Does it cost myself on the exit? That's exactly what all these drivers are trying to fine-tune right now, is their virtual racecraft to get them into the real world.
And like we said, it's a valuable prize in store for our top finishers in the championship. You need those consistent results. So who's got that big picture in their mind? Coming out of Sunset Bend, Young is now our leader. Caruana is second, but he has to change his mind at the last second to try and take the inside away from Aiden Young. And that may have been a decisive move, because if he can come away with the lead out of here into turn 3, it could help him. Oh, and he's actually going to have to shove Aiden Young off of the course.
Yeah, just had to get 2 wheels into the dirt, and now he's really going to force him up on driver's right side. So Aiden Young kind of once again getting muscled in the middle part of this race. I want to give props to Aiden, though, is that he is not holding his line on the racetrack and crashing both of them. Guess what? You can put 2 wheels in the dirt. You can avoid accidents, and that's exactly what Aiden is doing. Who knows what's going to happen in the remaining 7.5 minutes?
You can see on the right that if it stays as it is, Matt will get a perfect score for this first one. Really impressive stuff, especially considering what he considered a poor qualifying there for race 1, although he's going to have to work hard for it. Aiden Young dicing back and forth to try and see if he can shake Matt off of that P1, but no dice this time. Meanwhile, credit to Felipe Cabrera, up 8 positions to 7th place currently.
And he's also trying to close the gap. He's the leader of the second pack, call it, behind Leo Ovcharov. There's about a 1.7 second gap behind Leo here, and that's exactly where Felipe Loyola is. He's just trying to close that gap. And quite honestly, with this, call it top 6 right here, they keep battling. It's not like they're doing perfect optimized lap times. If they can just continue the fight, you might get that second pack to close it back up.
See if they can make that happen. It's going to be critical for them, no doubt, or else the highest they're going to see is essentially a 7th place. Meanwhile, 3 wide coming down in a Sunset Bend, and they're still going to be able to get at least halfway through the corner. What about the other side coming down the main straight? Great over-under there from Caruana, who's going to now move up into first once again. Vasquez hooks up with him, tries to push him along, get that little bit of extra speed. Are we looking at 3 wide once again? No, they'll stay 2 wide down for 2nd place, but Aiden Young has the inside.
Yeah, Aiden's got the inside here for what is 2nd place. Vasquez just kind of stuck a long way around. Can't do anything with that. So Aiden slips right back into the tire tracks as this second pack extremely busy. And you saw him only about 2.5 seconds behind our lead pack. Now, unfortunately, Joe, they are losing time now.
Well, we saw about 5 cars out before. There's only Morrison Swan who looked to be out of this race so far. We still have 5-6 minutes to go, really, left in this race. Breaking down to the corner. Looks like Ovcharov unable to make that one stick. Or is he maybe just poking and prodding for later in the race to try to size up his competition?
Very well could be. And I mean, we are coming up to that, call it 5.5 minutes remaining. So if you're trying to test some things out, now would probably be a good opportunity. You don't want to wait too much longer until you get into that last lap, and that's when you're really kind of feeling out where the thin ice is. You want to get it done now. Can I possibly predict a move?
A little bit of off course there for Caruana, but we're going to jump back. As we said, this battle essentially for, well, it was for 7th place. Cabrera's running away from them. And now it's Caligari who is leading this group. That's Hides in behind him. Matt Busa in there in 10th, with Osbaldeston sitting in 11th. A lot of them all packed up, but with no place to go unless they can really try to run down the leaders within the next 2 or 3 laps. Who is hungry just to try to get up to this 8th place? Who wants to try to think big picture?
It is a like you said, a hungry pack back here in this, call it 8th through 17th position, as our leaders are now rounding out of Sunset Bend. And Let me tell you, Joe, it got extremely busy through that 15-16 complex that last time. And as you see, Matt Caruana and Aiden Young still going side by side as we get those driver points to driver's right-hand side on the screen. You see the number 2 car. If he stays out front, he gets the perfect 70 points.
Question is, can he manage to do that? Aiden Young has been a thorn in his side. And I'm honestly impressed. I thought it was going to be Vasquez based on what we saw in the first race, who was really going to be trying to get up for the lead and overtake. But Vasquez has kind of been just hanging back a little bit. I'm not sure if he's playing possum here, as there you can see how much you can earn per place in each of these races, as again, they get very close to each other coming off the hairpin.
And just as a racer, I try to read the personalities on the racetrack. And right now, Matt Caruana, after winning that first race just a few minutes ago, he is the biggest bully on the playground right now. He has been muscling Aiden Young, saying, hey, this is my racetrack out here. And Aiden Young has been hanging tough. He's just pretty much collected every single body shot. You got to wonder, when is he going to pull the punch?
Certainly could be pretty bad if they wind up finding themselves, of course, getting a little bit tangled out there at the end. Matt Caruana is watching through the mirrors at this view and has been for much of the race. 3 minutes left to go. So it's going to be close on if they get to the line with 1 or 2 laps left. I do think it's going to be 2 laps by the time they reach it. But what is it going to look like here? Because here comes Young. He's got a big head of steam. He tries to go around the outside, very shallow from Matt down that inside line. Will he pay the price for that? No, he's still got his nose ahead pretty well, but it looks like a great exit from Young could help him as they cross the line.
This is kind of what I've seen in Vasquez. Oh, Vasquez is going to go all the way down low with the green highlights. He's going to have the inside in turn number 1. Aaron Vasquez to the point. Who's going to fight back? It's going to be one of those blue highlighted cars. 3 wide going into what is turn number 3. Somehow they figure it all out.
Caruana nearly got spun just going across the bow of Vasquez. Slight contact between them, but they get away with it. And yeah, Vasquez knows the deal. Instead of trying to pass him, he is pushing Matt to try and catch back up. He knows what Matt did to everybody else. Now Matt's backing down. Does he have a slowdown penalty of some sort? I don't see one. Oh, he did, apparently, we're hearing.
It looks like maybe a little bit of a slowdown from earlier in the lap. And Joe, remember we were talking about Felipe Cabrera Loyola as well as Caligari. They were about 2.5 seconds off. They've cut that down 1.1 seconds and closing to this front pack.
Yeah, that fighting helped them out tremendously there, but it's going to be white flag next time by. Opportunities are about out the window soon unless they make up a ton of ground. It's down through Tower Corner. Young leads Vasquez. Wolfson now has moved his way into third. Caruana has to shuffle back to fourth, but he hasn't lost the draft critically.
So who is going to be standing on top at the end of this? You see 1 minute remaining. We're going to be coming up to the white flag from Barney this time by. Wrap it through turn number 16. Try to put the power down. Shift up all through 6 gears here in these FIA F4 cars. Aiden Young going defensive. Aaron Vasquez already pulling out. Drivers left. Victor Wolfson going to make it 3 wide down the Ullman Straight.
And they're just about all the way to the inside of the circuit, too. 3 wide in. Will it be 3 wide out as they each try to cut back underneath each other? I think they're going to make that work. It is an absolute dance out there between them as they get the white flag with 1 to go. And it's going to be 3 wide once again down to the first corner. Make that 4 wide for the lead coming into the turn. Vasquez going to try to do the same thing over again. Narrowly avoids the spin as that was Wolfson who is out of it. He falls backwards. 3 wide once again coming down into turn 3. Vasquez gets the lead. Caruana slots into second. Young into third.
Aaron Vasquez from the outside of 4 wide into turn number 1, took the over-under, finds himself with a clean piece of air, a clean piece of racetrack in front, and now he's forced to go defensive down towards turn number 7, the hairpin here at Sebring International Raceway. Matt Caruana trying to find a way around, putting the power to the ground. Is it going to be a bump draft out of Aiden Young? 1, 2, 3, Vasquez, Caruana, Young.
Got himself a bit of a signature move now, does Aaron. He certainly looks like he's got it down well. That's way deep into the brakes, makes the corner there, does Young, but he's not going to be able to take the lead away. He at least gets past Caruana. Vasquez, though, guarding the inside now, trying to force Aiden Young to have to go the long way around.
And just a little bit of foreshadowing. Remember at the end of race number 1, it was Aiden Young, our second place runner, that went charging down the inside of turn number 17 to pick up a handful of spots. Can he do the same thing to pick up his first win in the series? It's still Vasquez out front. Let's see about through turn number 16. It is always so slippery. The best run comes from our third place car.
Vasquez might be leading, but there is nothing guaranteed here. All the way to the inside of the track. All three of them trying to guard to try and claim that inside line. Who will come to the lead first when they get to the finish line? Vasquez is in first coming into the sunset bend. He makes a little bit of contact. That sends him wide. Caruana managed to sneak under both of them. And Caruana is going to come away with back-to-back wins to open the first round here in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing Series. What an amazing finish.
You saw the celebration out of Matt Caruana, third going into Sunset Bend. It looked like it was between Vasquez and Aiden Young. Aaron tried to block out Aiden Young. Caruana saw the open door. He stood on the gas. The car got to the inside and stole away the win.
That sees Matt Caruana getting victory and victory in 1 and 2, as Aaron Vasquez will come home in second place. Aiden Young will finish P3 today. Leo Brown does manage to catch up for a fourth. And how about Felipe Cabrera? My goodness, up 10 to get himself P5. Victor Wolfson was 6th as Cade Middleton finished P7. Khalib Hides 8th, and Declan Webb 9th. Matt Adams will round out your top 10. Then you've got Noah Obaldiston in 11th spot, Matt Busa, P12, Ross Banfield 13th, Leo Ovcharov settling for 14th today, unfortunately. Cameron Martineau in 15th, and a ways back for Caligari, who finishes in 16th. A DNF for Wire, Swan, and Morris here today. So some drivers will have to try and recoup, Joey, but they're going to have to requalify if they want to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing with all 6 events on the Skip Barber Formula iRacing Series. You got to qualify for every single week of the series out here, and that's one of the beautiful things is that, yeah, we're going to see a lot of consistent drivers, but we might get a new fresh batch as well.
All right, so with that, it's been a lot of fun out here, but I believe Joey has caught up with our 2-time winner now.
Well, Matt, you got to be feeling pretty good after that one, 2 for 2.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't expecting to do that. That race was more intense than the first one. I got pushed off a couple times, but net code and got a slow down, had to serve that. Thought I was going to be out of it after that, but they were all just fighting really hard at the front. I sort of just hung back until the last corner, really. They had a bit of contact and I just slid through, so.
Well, walk me through that last corner, because it was a completely different position that you were in than in race 1. How did you kind of find that open door? Did it just unfold in front of you, or was that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that if I was in third, those two obviously race to last corner, they're gonna go for each other. I sort of squeezed Aiden to the outside. Knew he'd try and hang it around the outside. Aaron sort of just got a little bit of a slide on, and yeah, they just sort of drove into each other, so the gap just opened up, really.
Well, Matt, a terrific performance out here. 2 wins in the first 2 races. Congratulations on a great opening to the championship.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that was Matt Caruana. I believe that we've got our second place finisher up next. Aaron Vasquez is now joining us. 2 second places to start off this championship. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, to be honest. Like, it was super intense race, the both one, and really good, clean, like, moves, to be honest. Like, super aggressive, but all the time, like, super clean. Like, maybe sometimes, like, we're pushing, like, a little bit out, but always in the limit, you know, like we are racing for a place to test a real car. So I understand this aggressive in the moves and everything, but it was super fun, to be honest. I didn't expect to finish because I was expecting a crash or something, but I was really funny to make both P2, to be honest. Really unfortunate, to be honest, in the second one in the last lap because I missed a little bit the apex, and yeah, I get a little bit contact with Aiden and I lost the P1, unfortunate, but yeah, it was really good race. Congrats to Matt Caruana, to be honest. He did a really good job and I'm really happy, to be honest.
And Aaron, it seemed like maybe you were a little bit more timid in race number 1. You were a little bit more aggressive in race number 2 with trying to get that win. Was that what you were doing, just trying to collect some points here in this opening round?
Yeah, to be honest, like I was aggressive in the both races, but always I want to finish the race without getting a crash, always getting the podium as much as possible because I don't want a rip and lost too much points. So I want to be aggressive because they were like playing aggressive, but you know, always in the limits to don't crash and get like a 0 points race or something like that. So yeah, in the first one I was a little bit more chill just because I was holding the P1 and defending really good, so I didn't need to do any move like in the second one. But yeah, in the second one I need to like send it in some corners really hard to make moves and get a position in the track. But yeah, always I'm really like racing aggressive, but with the racecraft to get the maximum points possible in the race.
Well, Aaron, congrats on a pair of second place finishes, a great start to this championship, and I'm sure we'll be watching you the rest of the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you in the next one.
And that brings up our third place finisher. Looks like we've got Aiden Young joining us. First of all, congrats on the podium. You're kind of up forward towards the front in race number 1 and then kind of fell back in the middle of it, and kind of a similar story in race number 2, but you finally are standing on the podium here.
Yeah, no, that was a tough but fun race. I was sweating the whole race, and it was just from start to finish, it was just, you know, fight. Whoever comes out on top at the end is ultimately the deserving winner of that, because we were fighting so hard, just trying to put on the best show we could.
Well, you guys put on a fantastic show. I want to say thank you so much for coming out and racing with us, and congratulations on the third place finish here at Sebring.
Thank you.
Got to say, Joey, that if this is essentially what we're in store for the rest of the season, then I am super excited for what we can see. And here are the points of how they wound up, with Caruana managing a perfect score to start things off. Vasquez, a perfect second place, I guess you could say, only those 6 points behind. And the rest of the drivers having to play catch up on them. It does seem like you're going to have to be willing to get your elbows out, Joey, if you want to get some good scores in this series.
You're going to have to get your elbows out, but you have to be respectful. I mean, we were just talking about Aaron Vasquez and how he was expecting a crash, but guess what? The crashes never happened. I mean, we saw Aiden Young really getting pushed around out there on the racetrack, but guess what? He stayed respectful out there. I mean, the mentality of short track racing kind of comes to mind, Joe, is that you can push and shove, but when does it get to be too much? When is the tipping point in this season?
Well, I mean, that fits the sort of grassroots that we're mimicking here. This is where all the up-and-comers show and try to prove themselves. So no doubt we'll see a little bit of that. In the meantime, next race, as well, speaking of short tracks, it is Lime Rock Park. That'll be Thursday, July 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern. But to get there, we have our hot lap qualifiers. That'll be July 4th through July 6th. So if you want to partake, if you like what you saw and you think you could do this, then you can go and try to make your way here into the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series by simply qualifying in and then taking part 2 weeks from now in what should be a fun race number 2. So make sure and join in and just simply get on iRacing and give it a go out here if you haven't yet, because certainly is a fun time. You can see what kind of spectacular racing you can take part in. A huge thank you goes to Joey and our crew behind the scenes. But I'm Joe Peak, and until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.